Why is charity important to you?
Charity is very important because you're making a difference of people's lives.
Priscilla Hunt says she's honoring her husband by building on his legacy with generous gifts to organizations they both believe in.
And they wonder why, well, how come you chose the hospitals? Because if there any kind of terrible accidents or like horrific, like that shooting in Las Vegas, like a earthquake, whatever, where do you go? To a hospital.
Priscilla is a noted philanthropist, and giving back to the community was instilled in her at a very young age. And growing up with 9 siblings, she knows a thing or two about sharing.
I was born in a small town in Aringay, La Union.
In where?
Aringay, La Union.
Where is that?
It's in the Philippines.
Oh.
Okay, it's the southern part of the Philippines. My dad told us that I might not be able to give you an inheritance, but what I'm going to give you is make sure that you have good education. And we had a very happy life. Our upbringing was very strict, but you know that was good because we are all what do you call it? Very motivated to work hard.
Her father owned a cigar factory, but also held various political positions. At one point, he was even mayor.
My dad has a business, and maybe the other children will be playing, but I'm always around my dad, trying to learn the business, trying to how to roll the cigars. You know, the presidential cigars that are put in boxes with a little ring. I always was there watching. Finally, they put a chair for me, so like I can do it myself.
Priscilla says her eye for business came at an early age. Now, she went to college in the Philippines to study political science and commercial education, and it was during that time that she met an American man stationed in Manila, working in the Air Force.
And then I was introduced to this man, Ralph Moore. And turned out that it was nice meeting him, but on the way to the beach, he never said anything to me. He was a little shy. So I took it like he was like a snob or something like that. So I didn't pay attention to him either. So 2 days later, I was surprised when he called my sister that if he can take us to dinner. Well, to make the story short, I think we had about only 3 dates. And when my sister was in the bathroom, and then he said, "You might think I'm crazy, but if I ask you to marry me, will you marry me?" And without knowing, I just said, "Okay," you know.
The two secretly ran off and got married.
So he came to the house, and my parents found out about it. They were so mad, they were so upset. They said, "Do you know what being married is? Do you know? Do you know what commitment you have to do?" And I just shrugged myself because I was young. And that's how it started. It was like getting married, not knowing what marriage is all about. And but I tried to work it out, and then I got pregnant, and I was 20, 21. Then we came to the United States. And it's very traumatic for me because I always lived at home.
Coming to the United States was a complete culture shock for Priscilla, and it took some time for her to adjust to the American traditions.
Oh, I was so hungry because we're used to eating rice, eating, big portion of food, meat, fish, different kinds of, like a Chinese, different kinds of dishes. So when I got here, I was waiting to eat, and I saw them. They're all in a den watching this baseball. And I used to say, what are you doing? They're laughing and yelling and everything. Finally, I was wondering, she said, oh, maybe she's hungry. So they gave me tuna fish sandwich and cottage cheese. I don't even know what that is. But I had to eat it because I was hungry. My stomach was growling, and I was 8 months pregnant.
And being a new mother didn't make the transition any easier.
They don't have any Pampers. They don't have automatic machine and dryer. So you have to either wash by hand for the diapers, or there's a wringer type of washing machine. You fill up the tub and then empty it, put soap on it, and then you have to run it through a wringer, and then you have to hang it. And you have to iron it because there's no wash and wear. So it was very hard from a very comfortable life to come down here and on my own, nobody to help me, on my own, but I was able to do it, and it's a very good character building.
And 3 children later, Priscilla took a job working at an insurance company. But the feeling of being away from the kids was too hard to bear, so she found another way to help with the finances.
I was singing then on a weekend sometimes for different organizations, with the band. So I said, maybe I can sing about 3 times a week or 2 times a week and at that time. And then I said, I will make more money than working in an office, and I'll be home.
Singing has always been a passion of hers.
During the war, the Americans liberated the Philippines. And so at the time, I used to sing for my dad's, when he has a rally for his candidacy. And I used to sing. And they called me to sing, like getting some votes. And I will sing for the soldiers. And I was 13 years old.
At one point, Priscilla even recorded her own music and was part of the Filipino Rockettes. But at the same time, the relationship with her husband dwindled, and the two continued to grow apart. And after about 20 years of marriage, they decided to go their separate ways. But Priscilla continued to sing at various nightclubs in Long Beach. And it wasn't too long before she sung her way into another man's heart.
One of the owners that I was singing for, then he told me, you know what, Priscilla, I remember he said, instead of working and making money for the owner, why don't you, then you marry me, and then it's your business.
The two stayed married for 8 years, and she says he was a good man, but unfortunately that marriage came to an unexpected end.
He had a bypass, and he never woke up. So I was a widow for 12 years.
A business-savvy woman, Priscilla took on the challenges that came with running the restaurants, but eventually sold them when looking for something new. And not long after, an opportunity to work as the personal assistant of the CEO of Hunt Enterprises sparked her interest.
He said, would you like to meet Mr. Hunt? And I said, yes. So Mr. Hunt, and later on, he opened the door, a big smile in his face. And he said, hello. I said, hello. And so we talked a little bit. When can you start? When I got home, there's a message for me. And he said, Priscilla, this is Mr. Donald Hunt. If you are still interested, we would like to hire you. So I got the job. Later on, Don told me that when he opened the door, Susan said, Don, stop looking, we found her. See how luck is? It's always like that, you know. It's and then I learned the business. I learned it. So here I am.
When did you fall for him?
I think not very long, because he was so nice, and he was also good looking.
Priscilla says that once you lose a husband, it's hard to imagine going through that kind of pain again. She never planned on meeting someone new and always thought that she would be laid to rest by her late husband.
I have his name and also my name there, but blank. I thought that was it. I had that. So that's the reason why now they said, what are you going to do, Priscilla? Donald Hunt is there, and this is Ralph Padilla here. Where are you going to be buried? I said, well, I think we can just put forwarding address to the other one.
And once again, she walked down the aisle and said, I do. This time she wore a black dress for the occasion, and the two married in 2004. When we come back, find out how Priscilla's journey with Donald leads her to build a legacy of charity despite having to deal with even more challenges.
It really is a mobile veterinary clinic on wheels. It's amazing.
Yeah. You can't have a better profession where your patients can give you kisses.
And they're really cute.
Yeah.
Palm trees, coastline, craft brews. Yep, this is Southern California. But this is Torrance. Have you ever driven to a whole other city just for a bowl of ramen? Because if you haven't, that's about to change. Have you ever been to a beach that feels so much like your own private beach that you're like, where has this been all my life? Welcome, my friends, to Torrance Beach. So private, you hadn't even heard of it. Have you ever been to a mall that had literally 2.7 million square feet of shopping? Run, don't walk to Del Amo Fashion Center. And get this, Torrance is the actual epicenter of the South Bay's craft brew industry. I guess you could say the brews are just craftier here. We also have a farmer's market that's just as much about the people as it is about the food. And even our museum scene is the best at the South Bay. All this just 15 minutes from LAX. You'll come for the city, stay for the experience, and leave as a friend. So, are you in?
Priscilla never imagined being married again, but she fell in love and embarked on a journey with Donald Hunt, working with him side by side, and together they grew Hunt Enterprises with the acquisition of several rental properties, shopping centers, and commercial properties.
I'm very creative, so I stay ahead of. During the, remember, there was a crush with real estate 2008. A lot of those apartment owners were selling their apartments because it's hard to, with the economy. And most of them are $99 move you in. I didn't do that. I had different way of creating moving spatials. He was also getting to the type that he wants to retire. Yeah. So he trusted me to make sure that his business will continue and will be taken care of. He always said I had a very good backer.
And when Donald retired, Priscilla took over the business. At the same time, the two looked for ways to give back to the community.
The first time is when there was a flu epidemic, and we thought about contributing to the hospitals. And Mr. Ron Bitzer of Little Company of Mary came to see us regarding some kind of donation. So the first time we gave $100,000. And I was really surprised because a lot of my friends or relatives come to me, you know what? Do you know your name is as donors there at the hospital? I said, where? It's when you go in, there's a kind of different places there for your names, little places like that. I said, oh, that's nice. And then they talked to us then and brought all kinds of different, plans and for naming rights. And I thought, wow, that's a very good legacy for Don. And also, when if your health is bad, money will not be, money's not worth it. So the best is your health. At first, I decided to just maybe just a little bit here, a little bit there. And my heart was with the Salvation Army, because my husband was raised in the Salvation Army. So we also contribute to that for the homeless and for the veterans. It's like a transition place for them till they get better. Now it's going to be finished May 2018 in Bell Gardens. And also we have that Donald Hunt Community Center in Long Beach, beautiful. And in Torrance, we have the Donald Priscilla Hunt Performing Arts and a chapel named after his father.
Priscilla and Donald were like two peas in a pod and spent every moment together. But after a few years of marriage, Priscilla noticed a change in her husband's behavior.
What were the first signs that he was getting sick?
Showing it, maybe about 2008, that he started to be forgetful. And when he has a meeting, he has to go to the dentist, and then he will never get there because he forgot where it is. I said, I'm gonna take care of him. So my priority was to take care of him and working at the same time, running the business.
Dementia was common in his family, and it wasn't too long before he suffered other medical complications.
When I was there, I want to make sure that everything is, I'm there doing it with the caregivers. Made sure that his hair is well kept. He was so well taken care of. Everything is in his comfort. I was hoping that he lived to be 100, and they told me as you grow older, they don't care how much care you give to that person, the body deteriorates. I took him to the hospital because he had a fever, and then he was there a week. They gave him blood transfusion. I asked the doctors, doctor, is he gonna be well again? Like before he will rebound? They said, no, he's not gonna. In other words, no. So I said, if that's the case, I'm just gonna take him home, and he'll be comfortable at home. And when I took him home, it's about 10 days, but he was in the comfort of his home. Then, when towards the end, the last day, he was having a hard time breathing. I have, oh my God, at home it's like a hospital. I have a nebulizer, I have suction machine, I had for sugar, blood pressure. I had all the equipment at the house. So, and we tried hard. I had the nurses and everything, and the doctor coming. But there was a time that he was really getting tired. So I had the hospice over there. Then I told him to leave the room. And I told him he needs rest. It's okay. You can go. Because I always told him I don't want you to ever I want you to get well. I want you to get well. Because I don't want to be alone. But this time I said, when they left the room, I said, it's okay. You need some rest. I'm okay. And then 5 minutes later, he closed his eyes. And he was in my arms. That's what it is. So right now, I still go to the cemetery 3 times a week or 4 times. I made his private plot so beautiful. It's beautiful. It's flowers. I have my gardener plant flowers because he loves flowers. And so what I'm doing now is having a legacy to his name. And that's the best thing that I can do.
Donald Hunt died at 96 years old in the arms of his wife, and Priscilla was a widow once again. Donald was no longer in this world physically, but his memory and legacy would live on.
If you have a blessing, I feel that you should share your blessings. I had Donald Hunt bless me. I mean, it's incredible. But so he blessed me, so my blessings I share with other people.
In December of 2017, Priscilla announced a $22 million gift to Torrance Memorial Medical Center, and a special ceremony was held to thank her for the gift. The newly named Donald and Priscilla Hunt Tower will house the postpartum, mother-baby pediatric, and neonatal intensive care units. The family's contribution also went towards funding advancements at the Hunt Center Cancer Treatment Center, also named after them. To date, the Hunt family have donated $34 million to Torrance Memorial.
It's important to me because it's helping also a lot of people, you know, who are sick, helping the community. When a person comes to me, when there's a gathering, and they come to me and they said, thank you for saving my life, that means a lot to me. That makes me happy.
At the same time, Hunt Enterprises continues to grow, with many of Priscilla's children and grandchildren working in the family business.
I think I'm blessed because he gave me his trust in me to handle his estate. That he knows that I'm gonna do something good with it.
Most recently, the Hunt family donated $20 million to Providence Little Company of Mary. The proceeds will go towards the Cardiovascular Center of Excellence. The hospital will be able to increase outpatient capacity by 40%, and another tower will take the family name.
The legacy is to be able to look and see, and that will be forever there. So I told you before, every time there's a event and they want me to speak, and there you go. Sometimes it's really overgrown. I mean, so I say, wow, this is nice. I feel like a rock star. But actually, I feel better than a rock star. A rock star, they come and go. But this one, having a legacy for Torrance Memorial and Little Company of Mary, Salvation Army, helping people, and for Torrance Memorial is the Cancer Institute, Donna Priscilla Hunt Cancer Institute, and also the Nuclear Medicine, and for Little Company of Mary for the Cardiovascular of Excellence. A lot of people have heart problems, and you're gonna save a lot of lives.
Priscilla Hunt isn't letting her age slow her down. She continues to run Hunt Enterprises, Inc. and her philanthropy work. Her legacy is about giving back to the community, and her generosity can be felt throughout the South Bay. For Faces of Torrance, I'm your host, Jesse Pierre, speaking to ordinary people doing extraordinary things.